The year 1929 serves as one of the reference points for women's significant role in shaping the history of Nigeria's democracy. That year, thousands of women in the Southeast embarked on months-long protests called the Aba Women's March that led to the abolition of taxes, end of economic exploitation, and reign of corrupt warrant chiefs. About 2 decades after that, Chief Funmilayo Ransom Kuti founded the Abeokuta Women's Union, which successfully ended the special taxes on women and ousted the Alake of Egba land at the time. Driven by a passion for women's political participation, she fought for women's rights to vote. Not to forget that she is the first woman to drive a car in Nigeria. Shall we talk about Margaret Ekpo, a pioneering female politician renowned for her huge contributions to the struggle for Nigerian independence and the advancement of women's rights? Let's not forget Ajiya Gambo Sawaba, who fearlessly mobilized women to participate in the northern political process. She openly advocated against child marriage, forced and unpaid labor, and unfair taxes, as well as canvassed jobs for women, education for girls, and full voting rights. These women, among others, played critical roles in the birth and development of democracy in Nigeria through their activism, their political involvement, and relentless pursuit of women's rights, thereby passing the baton to contemporary generations of women who continue to strengthen Nigeria's democracy. As we celebrate 25 years of Nigeria's democracy, we are excited to shine the spotlight on 25 women who have contributed to strengthening Nigeria's democracy, ensuring free and fair elections, participation and inclusion, freedom of the press, respect for the rule of law, protection of human rights, and transparency and accountability. Elizabeth Adekogbe, a journalist and women's rights activist, was one of the pioneering women who championed the rights of women in political, social, and economic spaces. Adekogbe dedicated her life to fighting for women's suffrage and the allocation of seats for women in the legislature. The 1951 Constitution only allowed women who were taxpayers any form of voting rights, and because there were only a few women taxpayers, the representation of women in political settings was low compared to men. In 1954, Adekogbe wrote an article requesting total voting rights for women and more seats for women in the Western Region's House of Assembly. At the time, only one woman was appointed to the legislature. The late Dora Akunyili was one of the earliest figures in Nigeria's new democracy who proved that one person living with courage, compassion, and integrity can transform a nation. As the Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, she took over a demoralized regulatory agency and transformed it by launching a war against counterfeit drugs, which led to the closure of many open-air medicine markets across the country. A remarkable achievement was not without stepping on the toes of the largest drug counterfeiters, some of whom shared her ethnic background. The death of Dora Akunyili is a constant reminder that a public servant can serve with integrity and free of corruption, proving that often the best man for the job is a woman.
Professor Nnenna Oti, the Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, was tagged a beacon of electoral integrity following her courageous action during the 2023 gubernatorial elections in Abia State. As the returning officer for the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Oti faced bribe offers, threats, and intimidation. Nevertheless, she ensured that the election process was conducted fairly and transparently. Ayo Obe, a Nigerian lawyer and human rights advocate, is known for her advocacy for democratic reforms. As the president of Civil Liberties Organization, she advocated for the actualization of Chief M.K. Abiola's 1993 presidential election victory and was listed as one of the heroes of June 12. Obe has been an outspoken advocate for free and fair elections in Nigeria. She has worked to ensure that electoral processes are transparent and credible, thereby strengthening the democratic process and ensuring that the will of the people is accurately represented. Yemi Ademolekun is the Executive Director of Enough is Enough, a leading non-partisan coalition focused on good governance and public accountability, and a vocal advocate for electoral reforms that ensure free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria. Under her leadership, EIE has launched several initiatives aimed at increasing civic participation and voter encouragement. Campaigns like RSVP, Register, Select, Vote, Protect, encourage citizens to be more involved in the electoral process, from registering to vote, to ensure that their votes count. Ladi Kwali's impact on Nigerians' democracy, while not directly political, lies in her significant contributions to cultural diplomacy and the empowerment of women through her act. This economic empowerment is vital for a democratic society that aims to provide opportunities for all its citizens. Kwali broke gender barriers in a male-dominated field, inspiring generations of Nigerian women to pursue their passions and talents, regardless of societal constraints. Her success demonstrated the economic potential of ACT, encouraging policies and support the creative industries. Aroma Ote has been a vocal advocate for gender equality and women's empowerment, particularly in the finance and economic sectors. As a Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, from 2010 to 2015, Ote implemented critical reforms to strengthen the regulatory framework of Nigeria's capital market. Her tenure at the SEC was marked by efforts to enhance transparency, investors' confidence, and market integrity. These reforms contributed to a more robust and resilient financial sector, essential for a healthy democracy.
The story of Dr. Joe Oke Odumakin's activism is an important chapter in Nigeria's democracy. Her activism began in the 1990s as an active member of the Campaign for Democracy, the coalition of civil society groups, pivotal in the struggle against military dictatorship in Nigeria. The group organized protests, advocated for democratic governance, and worked tirelessly to end military rule. Dr. Oke Odumakin's contribution to the democracy in Nigeria are multifaceted and impactful. A fearless, fiery champion of democracy and human rights. She has advanced human rights, promoted gender equality, ensured fair electoral processes, and strengthened civil society in Nigeria. Ms. Sheyi Oluyole, the founder of the Dream Catchers Academy, provides free dance, drama, and music classes for underprivileged children. She also provides shelter and the basic needs of life to her students, thus promoting social inclusion and equal opportunities. In democratic society, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of their backgrounds or socioeconomic status, have access to education and basic needs is crucial for fostering a sense of belonging and equality. Ifweku Omoegu Okwaru emerged as the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, in 2004. Her 8 years in office were marked by comprehensive reforms that significantly improved tax collection and administration. She introduced measures to ensure transparency and accountability within the FIRS, reducing corruption and improving the efficiency of tax administration. Her efforts increased government revenue, which is crucial for funding public services and development projects, thereby supporting democratic governance. Justice Mary Odili, a former justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, was the leader of the 5-person panel at the Supreme Court that nullified the gubernatorial election of David Leon after his deputy was found wanting for submitting fake certificates during pre-election screening. This was after they were declared winners on November 16, 2019 at the Bayelsa State gubernatorial elections. This decision showcased judicial independence and reinforced the importance of electoral integrity. Christiana Anyanwu, a journalist and politician, is known for her demonstration of extraordinary courage as a journalist, especially during Nigeria's military regimes in the 1990s. Despite facing harassment, intimidation, and imprisonment, she continued to report on government abuses and human rights violations, shining a light on issues that were often suppressed by the authorities. Anyanwu became a symbol of press freedom in Nigeria, advocating tirelessly for the rights of journalists to report without fear of reprisals. Her outspoken advocacy helped to raise awareness about the importance of free and independent media in a democratic society, inspiring other journalists to speak truth to power.
Among the many things that Senator Abiodun Olujimi is known for, her fight for gender parity stands out. The Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill in Nigeria was introduced and presented in 2016 by Senator Olujimi. The bill aimed to secure the rights of women and girls in the country. Despite facing significant opposition and ongoing multiple revisions, the bill is critical to ongoing efforts to improve gender equality in Nigeria. Jennifer Efidi, a Lagos resident who was stabbed by thugs while trying to vote during the February 25 presidential and National Assembly election, is a powerful testament to the resilience and determination required to uphold democratic values. Jennifer Efidi's determination to vote despite being attacked by thugs exemplifies the courage and resilience necessary to participate in a democratic process. Our actions served as a significant contribution to democracy, showing that the right to vote is worth defending even in the face of violence and intimidation. Cynthia Mbamalu is one of the women actively championing the inclusion and representation of women and young people in government. A dedicated development practitioner, human and gender rights advocate, and lawyer, Mbamalu manages the annual Youth Organizing School for young people in West Africa on how to organize policy advocacy and civic engagement. She is a founding member of the Not Too Young to Run movement and Ready to Run campaign, committed to promoting young men and women's political leadership.
It is not surprising that Hafsat Olarunke Abiola Costello, daughter of the late Chief Moshood Abiola and Kudirat Abiola, is a Nigerian human rights, civil rights and democracy activist. In honor of her late mother's death in 1996, Abiola Costello founded the Kudirat Initiative for Democracy, KIND, in 1996 to promote the development of women as initiators of change through leadership and awareness programs. Kind helped to build a pro-democracy movement until civilian rule was restored in 1999. It is also among the major organizations that demanded reconsideration of the gender bill rejected by the National Assembly of Nigeria. Busola Ajibola, the Deputy Director of the Journalism Program at the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, consistently advocates for safeguarding freedom of expression in Nigeria through her writings. Her work emphasizes the vital role of a free press in a democratic society, contributing significantly to the protection and strengthening of democracy. In the world of persons with disabilities, Lois Auta Udonkata stands tall, undeterred by the discrimination she faces as a physically challenged politician. Auta Udonkata champions inclusive legislation for people with disabilities. In 2019, Auta ran for a seat in Nigeria's lower legislative house, becoming the first person living with disability to do so. She describes herself as the voice of women and girls with disabilities who want to see their rights fulfilled and their issues mainstreamed into government's agenda. Funke Adeoye, a Nigerian lawyer, founded Hope Behind Bars Africa in 2018, an organization that provides free legal services and direct support to indigent individuals in contact with the criminal justice system, while promoting reforms through research, evidence-based advocacy, and technology. Over 7,000 justice-involved individuals have benefited from their interventions. At the age of 26, Rukayat Shitu became one of the youngest elected female lawmakers in Nigeria, representing Owode Onire constituency in Asa local government area of Kwara State. In her role, she advocates for issues that particularly affect young people, such as education, employment, and youth empowerment. By bringing these issues to the legislative agenda, she ensures that the perspectives and needs of younger generations are considered in our policy-making processes.
Anyone who plies Herbert Macaulay, Jibo Uyaba in Lagos must have come across a traffic warden called Josephine Okeme, who is known for her exceptional dedication and service in managing traffic in one of the busiest cities in Africa. Popularly known as Lagos' most celebrated traffic warden, Okeme's role in strengthening democracy in Nigeria extends beyond traffic management, but also sets a high standard for other public servants. Through her dedication, integrity, and positive engagements with the public, she fosters trust in public institutions, supports the rule of law, and inspires civic responsibility. Chief Alimotu Pelewura, a fish trader and the leader of the Lagos Market Women's Association, helped to lay the groundwork for democratic principles and practices in Nigeria during the colonial period. Pelewura played a crucial role in advocating for women's economic stability and rights during the colonial period. Her passion for ensuring the economic well-being of market women drove her to lead protests against the imposed taxation and price controls on produce, which she believed would negatively impact their livelihoods. Pelewura also spearheaded another protest against the relocation of the Ereko market, physically blocking the authorities' relocation efforts, which resulted in her detention. Her actions promoted solidarity and unity among the market women, exemplifying the power of collective action in defending economic rights and strengthening democratic principles. Late Dr. Ameyo Stella Adadevo will forever be remembered in the history of Nigeria as the woman who prevented the spread of the deadly disease of Ebola in Nigeria. Dr. Adadevo's actions during the Ebola outbreak went beyond public health. They embodied the core values of democracy, courage, integrity, accountability, and service to the greater good. An accurate and quick diagnosis of the index patient, Patrick Sawyer, enabled the Nigerian government to quickly mobilize resources to tackle the virus. Despite threats and pressure, she refused to discharge the patient, which helped in preventing the spread of the virus. Dr. Adadevo's successful containment of the deadly virus helped restore and boost public trust in Nigeria's healthcare system and public institutions, thus setting a standard for accountability and ethical conduct in public service. All hail Madam Due Process. Designated as the Senior Special Advisor on Budget Monitoring and Price Intelligence Unit, also known as Due Process Unit, O.B. Ezekwesili's goal in this capacity was to help move Nigeria to a level where public procurement is governed by the principles of integrity, transparency, competence, and competitiveness as national standards. Under her leadership, the process of contract invitation, contract award, and project implementation was handled with integrity, which earned her the nickname Madam Due Process. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala made significant contributions to Nigeria's democracy through her roles in economic management, anti-corruption efforts, and advocacy for good governance. Her economic reforms, anti-corruption efforts, advocacy for good governance, and dedication to social development have strengthened Nigeria's democratic institutions and process. Her leadership and integrity serve as a model for public service, demonstrating the critical role that effective governance and accountability play in fostering a vibrant and sustainable democracy. So, as we reflect on Nigeria's 25 years of democracy, it is impossible to overlook the invaluable contributions of these 25 remarkable women. These women have demonstrated that democracy is a collective journey, one that requires the active participation and unwavering dedication of all members of the society. Here's to the next 25 years of building a democratic Nigeria that upholds justice, equality, and the fundamental rights of every citizen.